everyone, I'm Neha and today we are going to be meeting Prasiddha, who is here to share her career story with us, which is unconventional to say the least. So, hi Prasiddha, how are you doing?
Hi everybody, whoever's watching this video.
So, it's really nice to have you here, and for a change, today I'm on this side of the interview, so it should be fun. So, shall we begin?
Yes, please start.
Okay, so to begin with, tell me something about your transition from being an engineer to getting into the fashion industry. I mean, it's quite unusual. So, how did that happen?
Yeah, it's definitely unusual for our generation, but who are so used to always following what our parents say, and that's how the Indian culture basically is. So for me, to say the least, I think I was an okay engineer, always on survival mode. Just trying to get by. And if it's, for me, I would say to any few, I don't know, the future generations maybe, that if you are talking about your career, do not, like just get by. I think you need to take up a career that, will, keep you creative every day, keep you passionate every day. And, you would actually want to get up from bed in the morning and go to work. That's the
True,
kind
very
of
true.
job that, and the kind of, I think, culture that everybody's growing into nowadays, thankfully. So, so as I said, I did my engineering from 2011 to 2015. And after that, I worked for 2 years at a logistics company called Ingram Micro. And, when you're working in the industry, within the industry, with the people, you're working on different projects. I think you kind of understand whether you fit in or not. And I think it's very important to at least fit into something you want to do for the rest of your life. And for me, I think I had this one moment of, I don't know, enlightenment where I was like, I don't think I can do this for the rest of my life. I don't think I can sit behind a computer and just keep typing in code that I don't even understand half the time. So, I decided that let me look into something that kind of uses a few skills that I have picked up from engineering and maybe use it in another industry. And that industry, which I was really interested in, was fashion. So I
Okay.
was, a plus size blogger at the time, and I started in 2012. And I had a small WordPress site, and it was called Living the Double Life. And
Oh, nice.
it was kind of like a pun because the double was because I was an engineer who was,
Huh.
also doing something in fashion. So it was like living a double life
True.
basically.
Okay.
And
Okay.
also, the double for double XL for being a plus size blogger.
Oh,
So I kind of, started writing and taking pictures, and I used to make my friends take pictures, my parents take pictures, and I started growing an interest in that field.
okay.
So uh, one fine day, I was sitting in office, frustrated as usual, and I just typed in fashion plus technology, and the first thing that popped up was NIFT, and obviously because it has fashion technology in the name itself, but
Okay.
also because it does offer courses to former engineers. So that is when I came across the course of Masters of Fashion Technology, and I decided to kind of research a little bit about it and see what the course offers and everything.
Nice. So that brings me to our second question, which is basically NIFT. How was the experience? Can you share something about it, especially in terms of, for students who are interested or considering this course? How do you get in? What does the course offer? Who is it for?
Okay, so I had already done my bachelor's in computer
Okay.
engineering. So
True.
first and foremost, Masters of Fashion Technology is for students who have either done a parallel technology, which is a course that is offered by
Okay.
some colleges in the country, or you have
Okay.
done some engineering. Okay, it can be any
Oh,
engineering.
okay.
So anything from mechanical, HTC, any engineering.
Oh,
So
okay.
anybody can apply for masters. Um, the course, if I want to talk about the admission process, it's pretty long and tedious. So you have to be patient. It starts with you filling up an application form. Once they find you eligible, then you give an aptitude exam, which happens all over the country. I remember I gave mine in a college in Kurla. It's just like a normal, just say we give CET, same way there's a
Okay.
bunch of students who are
Correct.
like lined up. And so as a for masters of fashion technology, obviously the aptitude test is a little different than you would say for designers or other courses. So we have the usual mathematics, verbal, logical, the normal
Okay.
aptitude exam. And post that, once you clear the aptitude, you have a personal interview and a GD. So, as you know, like Masters of Fashion Technology, the course specifically has only 100 seats in the entire country. So,
Oh.
even though NIFT has 16 centers, only
Uh,
4 centers have this course. So, that's
okay.
Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai, and Ahmedabad. That's it. Only these
Okay.
four, and all are on the west coast. So it's all of it is on the west coast, and there's only 100 seats. 25 in each center, and so it's a little difficult to get in because there's a lot of people who are applying.
Yes.
There's
There are
only,
very few seats.
yeah, very few seats. So I was very happy that after the GD and interview, which happens in Delhi, which is their main center, it happened in Delhi, and I came rank 32 all over.
Oh wow! Congrats! I didn't know that.
Thank you. So
That's
I think
really nice given the
so. I
numbers.
had option between like Delhi and Bangalore, and Delhi fills
Oh,
up fast. So there's a
okay.
sort of an internal hierarchy of which center you want to get into, but it doesn't. At
Okay.
the end of the day, it doesn't matter as long as you're from NIFT.
Okay. Okay.
And but for me, as my parents are like, Delhi, is a very dangerous place. You just cannot go there. So Delhi was like completely off. So the next best option was Bangalore. So I applied in NIFT Bangalore and I got it because I had a pretty good rank. So I got into NIFT Bangalore, and the environment is amazing. It is unlike anything I've experienced in engineering
Really?
because,
Wow.
yeah. So the thing with NIF, if once you like walk in and if you've come from a background like engineering, but there's so many
Uh,
rules and there's so many restrictions, and there's so many, how engineering colleges are, no, there's like a fixed 9 to 5 schedule, like you're literally working at a job, and you have
Absolutely.
practicals and lectures and this. So the thing with NIFT is obviously it has all of these things, but it also gives the students a very hands-on experience, which I think
Okay.
works best if you're that kind of a person or if you're that kind of a learner,
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
And the industry and the course is such that, or the industry is such that only if you see will you learn more. So
So it's
that's
not
why the
like you sit and just have theory and you are
no,
not doing
there
it.
is theory, but it always I think becomes much better if you can see it in person too.
Right.
It's like for me engineering was like a lot of imaginary concepts, a lot of imaginary things happening that I can't see in the real world. So for me,
Okay.
fashion, it was fun to see that, okay, I learned one semester, I learned everything in theory, and then at the end of the semester I had an internship where I saw it in person. Everything
Okay.
that I learned, I actually saw it
So it
happening.
resonated with you.
Correct, yeah. And it helped me understand, and I learned things that I don't think I'll ever forget you know
Okay.
so
Wow.
that's, I think, something that I loved about NIFT, is that it offers, it's mandatory to have internships, which is possible because we are very few, consolidated number of students.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's possible to send students out into the industry and do internships. And internships are very, very important. So we had 3 of them.
Okay.
One was a textile internship where we learn everything from fiber to fabric, uh,
Okay.
conversion of fiber to fabric.
So
Then
that
we,
is the technology aspect that you're speaking about, is it? Because
uh,
there is like this for a lay person.
Yeah.
fashion technology is something different than fashion management or designing. Is that something?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to like put a disclaimer out there for everybody who I've ever met, is that I am
Okay.
not a designer. There is a
Okay.
lot more designations than just a designer in the fashion industry.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
think the entire industry just runs because of designers. You have garment technicians, you have pattern makers, you have operators working in the manufacturing units, you have quality controllers. So you have so many of these people, like you can literally say thousands of people working in order to get that one garment to the store.
Wow.
So it's a
And
lot
people
of
are so
process.
unaware of all this.
Yeah, actually, I think once you kind of understand the whole process, which you can't find much on the internet, nobody talks about it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
if you understand, you will have a very high appreciation for the clothes you wear, because it's
Okay.
not easy to get that into the store on time during season launch. So for me, I think I did some good internships. Good or like okay internships, but I learned a lot, and that was
Okay.
important. And
So,
so the first,
as you were saying, internships are a very integral part of the course, right?
yeah, it is
So,
mandatory at
how
NIFT.
important is it, the
So
internship?
for
A lot of
example,
your learning happens over there?
a lot of it, yes. So for example, in the first semester we have
Uh-huh.
literally a subject which is called fiber to fabric, where we learn everything, like all kinds of fibers that are available, whether it's natural or man-made, and how the entire process of converting it into fabric. Because there's woven fabric and there's knit fabric, so the processes are different. Everything is different. So for me, I was lucky enough to get an internship at Raymond, which is in Vapi. So they have a textile division which is in Vapi, and they make suiting fabric. Now I had no idea before I went there that suiting fabric actually has wool in it, and it has like merino wool, which they bring all the way from Australia, which they import all the way from Australia. And the entire process from cleaning the fiber to making it into yarn, and then from yarn you go to fabric. So, and if you ever gone into a power mill, because everything is automated nowadays, you'll go deaf. There's this entire room that is full of power mills. Okay. And it's
Okay.
just constantly weaving fabric, and so you get like meters and meters of fabric woven each day. Okay. And then it's imported to all of the manufacturing units of Raymond, where Raymond eventually makes suits or, trousers or whatever, all of their product categories.
Wow.
So it was, it was literally a 500-acre compound, and we only had a 10-day internship, but we were exhausted, but we learned so much, so much,
Wow.
everything from dyeing to how there is spindles of yarn, the different texts of yarn, and there's a lot of technical
As a
terms.
customer who buys stuff, you don't think about all these things.
So
I
there's
mean,
a
I'm just
lot
thinking
of,
as you're explaining.
and the thing about textile industry is that most of it is automated, which is, so
Okay.
it's a very the labor intensive, it's not as labor intensive as say the manufacturing part of it. Garment manufacturing, I mean. So textile industry is mostly automated. It's the machines do all the work. And then we had an apparel internship. So the next stage after the fabric is, say done, you need to know how to make the garment. So I not worked, I interned at a shirt manufacturing industry. So literally everything you need to know about how shirts are made. So it was an export manufacturing unit. So they basically had a lot of clients or customers who were from outside of India, and they give their orders to Indian manufacturing units. And let's just say, for anybody who's aspiring to be in the industry, it's not glam.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a very big myth because you must have seen fashion movie, or
Yeah.
you must have seen all of
People
that.
and students, everyone tends to think that, oh, she's in the fashion industry. That means like, it's so glamorous and we'll maybe
Yeah,
have some red carpet moments. But
you're not
I
working
guess
for Vogue. You're usually going to be working for the industry. You're either going to be working in manufacturing, or you're going to be working in retail, and that's a lot of long hours, a lot of work. It's
okay.
it's very time consuming work. And finally, I kind of covered everything. So I did a manufacturing internship, and I also did one in retail because I was interested in retail. I was very used to the corporate environment, having worked before. So for me, retail seemed like the best fix.
Okay.
Manufacturing is a little bit not my style, but then, and it's a little, I wouldn't say risky, but it's not really a best fit for a girl or a woman. It's a very male dominating, environment. So, but there are still women there. It's not like it's devoid of, women stuff. But yeah, it was just not my cup of tea. So I decided to go for retail as an option. So
Wow, that's nice. Different aspects of it you got to
yeah,
learn.
so you basically learn everything, back end se leke front end, everything
Wow.
that is associated with clothing or garments or fashion accessories or
Okay.
everything, basically. Yeah.
So, what would you say is the biggest challenge that you might see in this field, whatever you've experienced, like a big challenge?
Challenge. Oh, I think there were many challenges. It was a
Many
roller coaster
challenges.
ride. I think,
Yeah.
let me just say, like, I've been, when you are, my kind of how home environment was like, I'm the youngest. So I was very protected. I was living in a bubble. And then all of a sudden, I left home at the age of 24, and I went
Oh,
to live in a hostel for the very first time. I had to make new friends, I had to make family away from home.
yeah.
And you kind of just get suddenly pushed into the real world. And this industry is kind of a little brutal because
Okay.
it's very time sensitive, because everything has to be done in a particular amount of time. So
So
since
you
it's
have to
very
like manage your personal challenges along
correct.
with the professional
Yeah,
uh,
and
things
it
to
has
do.
sometimes, like, let's say there are events like trade shows happening, or there's no time. You might be at the trade show, like, area or the event place, maybe the entire night, setting up
Oh,
everything. There are those kind of work timings also. So
okay.
don't think that fashion industry does not zyada calmly. It is a
It's
lot.
not cozy and
It's not
comfortable.
cozy and comfortable like the clothing we make. It's a very, very, very time consuming. You have to be hardworking and a little bit of smart working as well. I think
Okay.
initially you have to be a little hardworking till you understand how everything works. And then you realize
Okay.
that it's the same everywhere, just with like a little, changes here and there. But once you understand the entire process and how everything works and how you are supposed to handle yourself or other people in the industry, I think it will get better. Then you can be a smart worker.
Wow, that's nice. So we've covered the challenges, the myths, the
Yeah.
learnings that this offers. But okay, so the last question for this segment would be, what do you think was the best part of it all? What is the best thing that this course offers, or what doors can it open for you?
I think for me, it's the people I've met, because
Okay.
I've met a lot of, and since all of us are engineers, I think at least in my
Huh.
course, we all had that
Okay.
common factor, where and that's like our first bonding moment, where we are like, we are a bunch of engineers who are extremely creative. And
Okay.
we kind of found this space where we could unleash that creativity. Also knowing everything that's the technicalities of the industry that you need to know, the jargon that you need to use, in order to show that okay, you belong to this place. And for me, NIFT was like an entry ticket into the
Okay.
industry. Because there's no other way that as an engineer I could have easily, gotten into, say, got an internship at Aditya Birla or, any such big retail giants. So obviously the people I've met, the mentors that you get at NIFT. So these are mentors that you have for life. So every student is assigned a mentor for the 2 years,
Okay.
and that mentor stays with you through every experience that you have at NIFT, whether it's personal, whether it's the internships, or in terms of your grades, or all of that. Also, I think it helped me regain a lot of my confidence. When you're at NIFT, you're around people who are just unapologetically themselves. And it's amazing to be in a crowd like that. It's amazing to have like people color their hair whatever you know they think, like, aaj meko green karna hai. So today they're like, I want green hair today. And or they have they wear whatever the hell they want, and they're not afraid of what people are going to think or what people are going to say. And when you're surrounded by so many people like that, you kind of become comfortable
It
too. You
rubs
kind of,
off and you also become
yeah, it
bindas.
rubs off, and you also become bindas. You're also like, okay, I also can wear a sleeveless t-shirt, or nobody's gonna really bully me here.
Okay.
That's the beautiful part of it, is that,
So you're not like made to fit in some sort of a
yeah, I think at
predefined.
NIFT it is better if you stand out, if
Okay.
you're different. I think difference, like each person's individuality, is kind of appreciated.
Wow,
So
that's nice. I
yeah,
think
I
everyone would love to be in such a environment.
environment, yeah. And like me and my friends used to be like really bummed out that why are we here only for 2 years. I wish we
Yeah.
had come here for a bachelor course or something. We only had 2 years. And also we felt really old because we have these youngsters running around who are 18, and we are like, we are really old. हम थोड़े बुजुर्ग हो गए. But it was a great experience, and I learned a lot. And not just about the industry, about people, about life, about how to take everything that life throws at you and just kind of work with it or around it.
That's nice. And professionally, as I understand it, it has served like as a launch pad for you to start off on your own.
Yeah,
Had you thought of that before?
I had always wanted to kind of have a brand, or start a venture that was my own, because I think um I mean it should, मेरा reason थोड़ा अलग था, that I don't like authority. I don't deal very well with authority. But that should not be the only reason why you start your own company, because I think a lot of us don't do well with authority. But
Yeah.
for me, I never thought it would start off this early. I thought that maybe I would work in the industry for a few years, and then I would learn as much as I can, and then start something of my own. But I
Wow.
guess I gave it a head start. Life kind of worked out that way for me.
That's amazing, from being an engineer to entering the fashion industry to having your own brand. It's really
When
admirable. Very
yeah,
nice.
when
So
I'm actually doing this interview and I'm like going down the entire journey, even I'm starting to think, okay, it has been quite a bit of journey. I think we kind of forget
yes, definitely.
in the
And it's
moment of
always
things.
very nice to connect to people and meet people from different walks of life and learn about their journeys. So we'll speak a little more about your brand
Okay.
soon.
Yes, definitely. In the
Okay?
next segment. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. We'll be right back.